Your words are bankrupting you, and you don't even know it. Every time you broadcast your financial plans to the wrong people, you activate a spiritual law that most Christians ignore. The wealthiest believers in Scripture mastered one discipline that modern Christians violate daily, and it's costing you your breakthrough. Right now, someone in your circle is secretly threatened by your potential. When you share your God-given vision with spiritually immature people, their doubt doesn't just discourage you, it plants seeds of unbelief that delay your promise. This isn't paranoia. This is biblical warfare over provision, and you're losing because you can't keep your mouth shut. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the 5 things you must never share if you want financial protection. These aren't motivational tips. These are ancient biblical secrets that transform prisoners into prime ministers, shepherds into kings, and the broke into the blessed. By the end, you'll understand exactly what to hide and why silence is the most powerful wealth-building tool God ever gave you. Proverbs teaches us that some people pretend to be rich but have nothing, while others pretend to be poor but possess great wealth. Why would the wealthiest men in the Bible deliberately conceal their strategies? Stay with me. The answer will change how you handle money forever. The first thing you must guard is your roadmap. Joseph had a God-given interpretation of Pharaoh's dream. 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine. But notice what he didn't do. He didn't run to the palace staff and announce his brilliance. He didn't leak the strategy to the other prisoners. He waited for the right audience at the right time, and that discretion positioned him as second in command of the most powerful nation on earth. Here's what happens when you share your strategy too early. 3 things collapse instantly: clarity, confidence, and divine covering. When you tell people your investment plan before it's mature, they offer opinions you never asked for. Suddenly, your crystal-clear vision becomes clouded with their fear-based advice. When you announce your business idea to friends who've never built anything, their skepticism doesn't just discourage you, it spiritually contaminates the seed God planted. Stop seeking validation for a vision God only gave to you. Modern application? That side business you're building, that real estate investment you're researching, that career pivot you're praying about. Keep it between you and God until it's strong enough to survive scrutiny. Premature revelation leads to panic, interference, and sabotage from people who aren't ready to understand what God is doing. Your strategy is for your execution, not for public opinion. The moment you expose an immature plan to immature people, you invite chaos into something God intended to stay pure. Discretion protects both the strategy and the outcome. Broadcasting your exact income is a violation of biblical wisdom, and it opens 3 spiritual doors you don't want open. Abraham was incredibly wealthy. Scripture tells us he had livestock, silver, and gold in abundance. But here's what's fascinating. He rarely discussed specific amounts or flaunted his riches publicly. Abraham understood that true financial security requires keeping your actual position private from most people. Why? Because when you announce your income, 3 things happen immediately. First, jealousy. People who were neutral toward you suddenly resent you. Second, unwanted financial requests. The moment people know you have money, they feel entitled to ask for it. Third, spiritual pride. You start measuring your worth by your bank account instead of your obedience to God. But there's a deeper reason the wealthy stay silent about their numbers, and it has to do with spiritual warfare most Christians never see. In modern terms, this looks like refusing to post your salary on social media, declining to discuss your investment returns at family gatherings, and keeping your raises and bonuses private. It means you stop comparing financial timelines with others and start protecting the peace that comes from confidential obedience. Here's the truth most financial gurus won't tell you. The people who brag about their income are usually insecure about it. The truly wealthy don't need validation. They understand that real power moves in silence. Your bank account is nobody's business, but yours and God's. This is where most believers destroy their own destiny. Joseph had a God-given dream that he would lead his family, but he made one critical mistake. He shared it too early with the wrong people. His brother's jealousy didn't just hurt his feelings, it nearly ended his life. They threw him in a pit, sold him into slavery, and lied to their father about his death. All because he couldn't wait to announce what God had privately revealed. Scripture is clear. Premature revelation of God's promises can hinder their fulfillment. When you share divine vision with spiritually immature people, their doubt doesn't just stay in their hearts. It becomes a weapon against your faith. Think about it. You tell your cousin you're believing God for a 6-figure income, and they laugh. You tell your coworker you're launching a business, and they list 10 reasons it'll fail. You tell your friend you're investing in property, and they remind you of every market crash in history. Their lack of faith becomes a spiritual weight you now have to carry on top of building your vision. Modern application is brutal but necessary. Stop announcing your financial goals on social media. Stop seeking premature applause for promises that haven't manifested yet. Stop asking for feedback from people who've never achieved what you're pursuing. Don't let mockery murder your manifestation. Before we continue, understand this. What you're learning right now is the difference between those who build wealth and those who just talk about it. The next 2 things I'm about to share are what separate financial survivors from financial conquerors. Stay with me. Jesus himself commanded us to give in secret, and there's a financial reason why. When you broadcast your generosity, you rob yourself of the spiritual rewards that come from hidden obedience. God promises to reward what is done in secret. But when you announce your giving publicly, you've already received your reward in the form of human praise. Here's the modern trap. Posting your tithe receipts online, announcing your charitable donations for applause, or making sure everyone knows when you've blessed someone financially. The moment you publicize your generosity, you convert a spiritual investment into an ego boost. True biblical giving happens where only God can see. It protects you from pride, protects the recipient from shame, and positions you for supernatural increase that doesn't require public validation. When you give quietly, God sees it. When you give loudly, people see it, but heaven doesn't multiply it the same way. The Father rewards what happens in secret because secret giving proves your motive is pure. Your generosity is between you and God. Keep it there. This one shocks most people, but you must also keep your struggles private. Here's the spiritual principle most miss. Rehearsing your lack and debt to anyone who will listen reinforces negative patterns in your spirit. Every time you complain about being broke, you're prophesying poverty over yourself. Every time you rehearse your debt to casual acquaintances, you're anchoring your identity to lack instead of provision. Complaining about lack only chains you to it. The power of the tongue is real. Proverbs tells us that life and death are in the power of the tongue. When you constantly speak about your financial struggles, you're literally speaking death over your finances. Modern application? Stop making your debt the topic of every conversation. Stop posting about your financial stress on social media for sympathy. Stop rehearsing your bills to people who can't help you solve them. This doesn't mean you refuse to get help. It means you seek counsel from spiritually mature advisors who can actually guide you, not from random people who just want gossip material. Privacy during the struggle prepares you for the restoration. Let's get specific about implementation. First, audit your conversations this week. Identify who you've been leaking your financial plans, income details, and future goals to. Make a decision today to stop, not because you're being secretive out of pride, but because you're being strategic out of obedience. Second, shift from complaining to counsel. If you're facing financial difficulty, stop broadcasting it to casual acquaintances and start seeking advice from spiritually mature mentors who have the wisdom and resources to actually help you. Proverbs says, "In the multitude of counselors there is safety," but that doesn't mean everyone deserves access to your private financial battles. Third, practice secret giving. Re-establish the spiritual discipline of generosity that only God witnesses. Give without announcing it. Bless without posting it. Serve without needing credit. Watch how God begins to multiply what you do in private. Fourth, create a filter for who gets financial information. Not everyone deserves to know your plans, your income, or your goals. Discernment isn't distrust, it's wisdom. Ask yourself, does this person have the spiritual maturity, financial success, and proven character to steward the information I'm about to share? If the answer is no, Keep it to yourself. Fifth, pray before you post. Before you share anything financial on social media, whether it's a struggle, a success, or a goal, pause and ask God if it's wisdom or if it's ego. Social media has become the modern town square where believers inadvertently violate biblical principles of discretion daily. Your obedience to these principles will determine your financial future. Here's the truth that most pastors won't tell you from the pulpit. Your financial breakthrough may be just one act of obedience away, and that obedience might be as simple as learning to close your mouth. When you protect what God is building in your life, you give it the space to grow strong enough to withstand the world's scrutiny. When you guard your vision, your income, your goals, your generosity, and your struggles with biblical discretion, you align yourself with the wisdom that elevated David from shepherd to king, Joseph from prisoner to prime minister, and Abraham from wanderer to father of nations. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. Strategic privacy isn't fear, it's faith. God honors those who honor his principles. He rewards what is done in secret. He multiplies what is protected in private. And he elevates those who trust him enough to obey him, even when it feels counterintuitive. So the question isn't whether these principles work. Scripture and history prove they do. The question is whether you'll have the discipline to implement them. Will you master the discipline of silence today? Or will you let your words continue to derail your destiny? The choice is yours. But understand this, every time you choose discretion over disclosure, you're choosing God's way over the world's way. Every time you protect his plan instead of promoting it prematurely, you're positioning yourself for breakthrough instead of backlash. Commit to divine discretion starting today. Guard your plans. Protect your income details. Keep your goals between you and God until the proper time. Give in secret. Handle your struggles with dignity. And watch what happens when you finally align your mouth with the biblical wisdom that builds generational wealth. Silence is the incubator of your increase.